नमस्कार आपण समस्त को आम यूट्यूब चैनल लर्निंग एकेडमी को स्वागत। आज वीडियो आम आलोचना करवा आपण मान पास सेकेंड सेमिस्टर प्रैक्टिकल रेकॉर्ड अबाउट रे एवं आज विषय वस्तु होची लर्निंग एंड टीचिंग ताहार ऊपर आलोचना करवा। यह हूँ आपण मान सेकेंड सेमिस्टर प्रैक्टिकल रेकॉर्ड। तेणु यहाँ आचार्य नागार्जुन यूनिवर्सिटी सहित आपण मानकर रयलसीमा यूनिवर्सिटी विक्रमसिंहपुर यूनिवर्सिटी योगीवेमना यूनिवर्सिटी एवं आंध्रा यूनिवर्सिटी प्रैक्टिकल रेकॉर्ड। तेणु तापर आज आम आलोचना करवा। तेणु जो मैंने प्रथम चैनल को विजिट कर वीडियो लाइक करूँ, शेयर करूँ, सब्सक्राइब करूँ एवं पाखे थी बेल आइकन बटन क्लिक करूँ जहाँफल न्यू न्यू वीडियो नोटिफिकेशन आपरे। अलरेडी देखो मुझे पीडीएफ टी ओपन कर रखी आप देखूँ सब जिनस सिस्टमेटिकली बुझीपारे और टोटाल खातार आप कॉपी पेस्ट करेंगे जहाँ मुझे कहि से जिन खाली एक्टिविटी चेंज चांज कर लिखे और ब्लैक कलम रे हेडिंग सब हेडिंग सहित ब्लू कलम डेस्क्रिप्शन लिखे। एक्टिविटी 1 आलोचना करवा हैबिट्स ऑफ हाईली इफेक्टिव स्टूडेंट। देखो डायग्राम जहाँ अच्छी आप नेट रू ऑनलाइन रू आप कलर प्रिंट बाहर कर मारिपारे ना हाथ डायग्राम करेंगे एवं निजे भी जो डायग्राम गुड़ाक न हो से गुड़ाक आप जो नॉर्मल डायग्राम हाथ करेंगे जो गुड़ा न हो से गुड़ाक आप कलर प्रिंट बाहर कर गूगल रू एवं कि ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट मारे बेटर हम। एवं देखिए द की टू बिकमिंग द इफेक्टिव स्टूडेंट्स इज लर्निंग हाउ टू study the smarter not harder. This is a becomes more and more true as you advance your education. An hour or up to studying days is usually sufficient to make it through highly with satisfactory grades, but when college arrives there are not enough hour in the day to get all your day studying in or do not know how to study smartly. While some students are able to through the schools with a minimal effort, this is expectations. The following are the top of 10 studies habit employed by highly success students. So if you want to become a successful student, don't get too discouraged, don't give up, just work to develop each of the study habits below you. See your grades go up. Don't give up, just work to develop each of the studying habits below and we will see your grades go up, your knowledge increase and your ability to learn, your accessibility in meditation improve. एक रहुजी plan when you are going to study. Successful students schedule specific times throughout the week when they are going to study and they stick their schedule. Students who study spontaneously up with your studies एवं creativity a weekly where you are aside a period of time, a few days you week to review your courses will ensure you develop the habits the with enable to you succeed in your education long time. Do not attempt to work all your studying into one session. Every find yourself up late at night expending more energy trying to keep your studies silent open that you are the studying. So it's time to for the changes. Successful students typically space their workout over shorter period of time and rarely try to cram all of their studying into just 1 or 2 sessions. Never processions of your planned study lesson. It's a very easy and common to put off your study session because of lack of interest in the subject, because you have other things that you need to go done and or just because you have other things you need to get done or just because the assignment is hard. Successful students do not proceed your studying. If you procrastinate your studying session, your studying will become a much less effectively and you may not get everything accomplished that you need to. And start with the most difficult subject first, as your most difficult assignment or subject will acquire the most effort and mental energy. You should start with the first ones. You have to give completely the most difficult work. It will be a much easier to complete the rest of your work. Believe it's not starting with difficult subject will greatly impairs and the effectiveness of your studying session and your academic performance. Makes you are not distracted while you are studying. Everyone gets distracted by something. Maybe it's the TV of your family or maybe it's too quiet. Some people actually studies better with a little background noise when you are distracted while you are studying. You And next page is the lose your train or through and you are unable to focus, but which will lead to interact study before you start studying. Find a place where you want to distracted or disturbed. Review your notes, such works and other class materials over the weekend. Successful students review what they have to learn during the week over the weekend. This way they are prepared to continue learning a new concept that build upon your previous coursework knowledge acquired the previous week. Always review your notes before studying on assignment. Obviously, before you can review your notes, you are mostly first you have to notes review. Always make sure that takes a good in class. Point is study at the same time. Not only it is the important that your plan when you are going to study, it's important you to create a consistent study routine. And another point is 9 is each study time should have a specific goal. Simply studying without direction is not effective, but you need to know exactly what you need to accomplish during the each study session before you start study. 10 is they use to study groups effectively. Everyone here the phases of two heads are better than one. Well, this can be especially true, but when it's comes studying working in a groups enables you to that's one is get help from other when you are struggling to understand and a concept, and the completely assignment is more quickly. Report as a sixth class teacher, I adopted all the above to study skill, improve their study skills, and students acquired those study skills are the performed well. And activity tools was main heading is conduct a group discussion and strategies of memorization, reporting, reading, writing, peer group discussion, explaining to other, etc. and prepare a report. Strategy of memorizations. Good memory is a great assets, and a number of characteristics distinguish good memory for a round memory. This is very mentioned in low rapid recognition, yearly recall, most of the accompanied by the quickly recognition of the definite idea. Need for certain accused when you are able to recognize the idea which provided the correct answer to particular situations. You will have to give a proof for poor memory. Yearly and accurate recall. Yearly recall in another indication of good memory, but certain people cannot recall the right memory thinking at the right time. They have bad memory. Good memory facilitates rapid and accurate demands it so the third point is longer relaxations. Good memory helps a person in retaining the learned material for a long time. For his rapidly learning, good memory facilitates learning and not much time is wasted. Certain the other factors like the continuations, attentions, interest, and also the involved in the rapid learning. Peer group discussion, explaining to others, all improvement to the memory concept in the improvement of one is habitual methods or recognition facts, but the method is which most be mechanism is addictions or the energies. William James statements, but some important of memory is possible of one could improve the conditions in cases of poor in groups. It is the result of incorporation method of learning. An opportunity for self-expression should be provided to the children to enable them overcome their scheme. But let this child have no fear or nervousness. When you want to him a remembers facilities and particular occasion, give him a kind of him going memories. It's one of the student explanation a topic. It's a very useful to him, and not only him explain the student. Repeated the reading and writing, mining, getting, and the fixable materials pure in the minds of lectures. Over learning in this lecture learning beyond the stages of what the material can be said to have a benefited conducted experiments and adult subjects who were the learners list of 12 notes. The result obtained by them showed a larger amount of learning bring a learner. In our group discussion, a question has been asked, can memory be improved the modern of these questions in that possibility of improvement of memory limited is not impossible. The reason for this is the one of the relative power in initiates or mostly demands upon physiological factors, rarely easily groups and rapidly men depends upon in the intelligence powerful of indirect increase of the certain age passively up to 11 to 12 memory develop the slowly up to 16 and further process we learn to have years of age report. As a student teacher, I will follow the different strategy to develop their memory and follow the different technique to motivate the student. By adopting following the strategy, student developing their memory. Activity 3, prepare a detailed report on different words of an ideal teachers existing circumstances. A teacher plays a vital role in the process of educations. They actually no teacher unit ever become a totally idea become totally the teachers are achieved the such a level of perfection that the role or organize the visualization requires the further effort toward the improvement and constantly the growth of the culture. An ideal teacher usually passes the characteristic he had unbiasedly command on his subjects to know the fully content of the subject which he has to teach. Truly exceptional the teacher are school and are constantly delivered and grading themselves in their subject. The true one is expression. Ideal teacher is not a graphing some more in the plus lesson. An ideal teacher and ideal teachers has a good sense of homo smiles, but this is a female not an improvement. An ideal teacher has the highest degree of integrity. An ideal teacher is the susceptible adaptation or the modifications. Then another page is 3 point is being flexible means that is the students are not interested in teaching learning a new or even new a good lessons due to some reasons. He is not a circumstances curiosity straightly out the teaching of the lessons, rather the talks about the problem that have arisen in classroom and eventually it's a back to the lesson. An ideal teacher is a concise and clear in both written experimentation in the classroom, and ideal teachers is patience. Being a patient is often expressed as a being a diligent or precisely learn. 5 point is learning is a genius, gifted, mentally created, dyslexic, emotionally disturbance. Some patience is required for employing the careful individual teacher learning technique. For individual teachers learning not only in this way of wit and progress and can be observed day to day. Then another page is 6 point is an ideal teacher is a self-confident. The ideal teacher is a model of self-confidence. It is a source of a great pleasure and they have to show it in and their facial expression and their positive attitude around the school. People always seem to have to time to talk colleges to do something extra for this staff. One key to be a pervert is having a good self-concept and 7 an ideal teacher is open. This trait is related with the willingness of the teacher share happiness about their own his life illustration, a point or a scenario how they feel about is a given situation. An ideal teacher is a diversity with regard to his preparation. This means they have a teacher not only the focuses on specific areas but the considers common related the subjects, and this is diversity and enable to him a characteristic illustrate the selected in more prescribed manner. This ideal teacher is an exact in model being a good rider model and the classroom teacher or whatever. So the teacher is a greatest contribution he can make the society. And ninth one is an ideal teacher is a capable of relating theory with a spread in textbooks. They are the suggestion for doing individually or as a group to enhance the motivation in teachings the theory in practice. An ideal teacher has a good personal hygiene and is well as a groomed. He is always a neat and clean and wears a types of clothing. This is acceptable in the school building in which he teaches. He helps the student having difficulties furthermore than or he is a disclaimed corporative friendly with his colleges and obediently used to the institutions. Attention activity 4 hoche attention is an important aspect of our mental activity and plays a useful role in our day-to-day life. In this teaching learning process, attention is the main source of the learning. While the teacher at work, a number of students remain attentively for some reason or other, and those sitting at the back benches do not pay the much attention to the class work, and this sometimes causes announces to him. Often he repeats, "You Raju, what are you doing? Pay attention to what I am saying." Definition of the phenomenon of attention as being defined variously. Attention is the process of getting an object throughout the clearly before the mind arises. Attention is the selectively at consciousness. It is the selectively activities of mind recognize. Attention is a contribution of mind connotation in a again the selective implies the sensible clearness as describes attention wood earth and scholarly. Then fourth point is from the another point of view attention bringing to the focus an idea plane a subject from the margin, and this is also implied the selective from the above definition. It is clear that focusing in concentration, selection and calculation are the documents of attention, and the mental stream of our consciousness doesn't attend to everything that happened to before something which carries among our attentions now and may lose it the next moment. Our mind immediately select bring the phenomenon into the focus and there lies attention. Characteristic of attention, thus the chief characteristic of attention are attention. It's selectively attention is constantly shifting from one subject to another. Attention is implied knowing, feeling and doing. Attention is motivated some purpose in the object of activity which is attend to. Attention is generally arise by the new stimuli. Next page and point is another point is learning situation. Learning involves the acquisition of knowledge, habits and attitude. Learning is a both acquisition of relation having the important phases of human life. It is a basic factors in education. It is a growth in adaptation behavior, variety of situation and circumstances. Everyone has a many needs and there are many ways to satisfy their needs. It is a different way. A student is very human will not pay attention to learn. Environmental factors also the influences the learner student for the factors like the family background, financial and social status influence the laboring the situations. Maturations plays a prominent role in learning. Without accumulation of defined maturity level including level, individual cannot learn irrespective of a high stimulating maintaining environment. A child cannot develop their skills unless he has the capacity to stand up. So long as there is no intelligence in development, the individual cannot understand the relatively complex issue, the situation, etc. Most motivation is an actual in our observation. Some people for rapid learning and the following in much time and not much time learning and much time memories the wasted their communication attention also the involved in the rapid learner. And the motivation is an important factor of learning. Motivation implies arising maintenance of interest basic factor. In fact no real the interest of basic factor. In fact no real learning can take place without motivation. Motivation is a combination of four forces which initiated direction, sustenance, behavior, sustain a good leniency. Thus it is a process of surrounding and the controlling the interest of certain activity. The teacher role in motivation give a child learning experience which is well within his group, present a new material in the right of what they have already learned it. Extraordinarily talented pupil on in that classroom have a strong needed for stimulation, and the teacher should inspiration children to achieve high. They should instill confidence in them. Here are two instances. Another child approached his teacher. He carried out a problem to him, saying that he would not be able to solve that. The teacher encouraged that to the child, saying that my child, you will be able to solve it. Why we cannot you? Let's him me play to. It is a easy to method. The teacher should be polite towards students. However, one needs the guidance from both teacher and parents should be reading available to develop the habit among the children. And last one is activity 5. Activity 5 रे कौन अच्छी देखिए ना फ्लांडर इंटरैक्शन एनालिटिकली कैटेगरी सिस्टम FISS. The Flanders interaction technique consists of 10 categories of communication which are said to be inclusive all communication possibilities. There are 7 categories which is the feature is talking to when the pupil is talking, because the system is totally inclusive coding and the constant rate of allows calculation of the proportion of time spent in our more categories. तेणु ये देखिए आउ कौन फ्लांडर इंटरैक्शन एनालिसिस कैटेगरी FISS टीचर टॉक रेस्पॉन्स एक्सेप्टिंग फीलिंग एक्सेप्ट्स एंड द क्लासिफाइज और एटीट्यूड और द फीलिंग टोन ए pupil in a non threatening matter, precises or encourages of pupil action on behavior that takes a religious tension, but not only the expense of another individual not holding saying him or go, or another include accepts. Usually pupils the clarify the buildings or developing pupils ideas are including, but as teacher bring more his own ideas into a place, shift to category 5 lecturing and asking a question, a lecturing content or procedures based on teacher ideas with the intent pupils will answers. এবং guiding कौन अच्छी ना give a factor opinion about the content procedure expression his own ideas, giving his own explanation or seated an object what they have understood. এবং chronology giving the direction of commands or order with the which student is expected. Then तापर पॉइंट कौन अच्छी एक्सपेक्ट टू कंप्लीट एवं तापर पॉइंट अच्छी आपण देखंदु क्रिटिकली जस्टिफाइंग अथॉरिटिकल एवेशनल ट्रिवेज अच्छी. तेणु स्टेटमेंट इंडिविजुअली in to check a pupil behavior from a non-acceptable pattern, bowing someone streaming self-reference. 8 नंबर होची pupil. 8 नंबर जदि pupils लिखा अछि कोन लिखा अछि pupil talk response एवं talk by pupil in a response to teacher into a contract our initiative. So pupils statement of structure, situation, freedom, express own ideas limited. Imitation, pupils talk. Imitation talks about the pupils they have to indicate experiment and raising the ideas, initiate a new topic, freedom to develop opinion and live through like as a bring thought among questions is a going to a beyond existence structures. Among 10 point silence of confusion passes short period of silence and period of confusion in which communicate cannot be understood by observer. Report hoji through the flamers interaction. Apanakar dekhnu we know that the commission survey students and teachers in the teacher classrooms. Then last one is activity 5 last page but total khatar last page learning and teaching ro. The important thing is role of teachers in solving the problems, and through the above 10 steps we know that the importance of classroom, the students interaction, interaction in the classrooms तेणु ये सरी जाए आपंकर 5टी एक्टिविटी लर्निंग एंड टीचिंग संपूर्ण वीडियो लाइक करूँ शेयर करूँ सब्सक्राइब करूँ बाकी बेल आइकन बटन क्लिक करूँ तेणु यहाँ आप लर्निंग एंड टीचिंग आप सेकेंड सेमिस्टर आचार्य नागार्जुन यूनिवर्सिटी आंध्रा यूनिवर्सिटी रायलसीमा यूनिवर्सिटी योगविमना यूनिवर्सिटी विक्रम सिंहपुर यूनिवर्सिटी आपण लर्निंग एंड टीचिंग संपूर्ण वीडियो।